What's up, everybody? What's up? Told you Dad was going to start a show. So just watch your show, okay? I know, we've been playing. Eat your mac and cheese and watch your cars. LSU really are in for an absolute bar fight here tomorrow morning. Before most of even the college football world are even out of bed yet. They're DVRing their college game day or whatever, or they're waiting for their game later in the day. But usually people aren't even out of bed yet. This game will be already kicking off at 10 a.m. local time where I live, Mountain Time. 10 a.m. Mountain Time here. So early when they do these noon kickoffs for us, it's kind of gets ridiculous, the noon kickoffs. But noon, I guess that kind of makes sense. Like if you're on the East Coast, like okay, but 11 a.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. just stupid. Just stupid to have these kickoffs, in my opinion. But today, this stupid bastard, Hurricane Francine, came through and was an absolute, it could have been way worse. Still, there was damage to people's homes. I'm not sure if there was even a fatality. Hope to God there wasn't. I heard there wasn't, but that was just in the early couple days reaction. There were some homes that were damaged, some things that happened where people lost their stuff. So if you could donate to handsonneworleans.org/donate, that is the place to go. handsonneworleans.org/donate, or just donate to a place that you trust, an organization that you trust as well. Hey, that reminds me, I'm going to donate to All Hands and All Hearts. Okay, let's go with them. Or there's an organization where you're from that can get people help even more directly. By all means, if you have the possibility to, and I know how tough it is, but if you have the possibility to, I know how tough the economy is. If you have the possibility to, some of these people losing their homes and stuff absolutely need the help, and donate to an organization that you actually trust will help these people. So that's one that we found. We couldn't find many that I felt 100% okay with putting on our channel and saying go donate to. This was one that I felt was more grassroots, was more localized, and not such a charity kind of vibe to it. I felt like they would actually help people and not just pretend to help people. Oh, you want your fruit snacks? And there are people right now who do not have power. There are people right now who are just getting stuff back together. And Hurricane Francine really wasn't even as bad as it could have been. And so that's just how bad these hurricanes actually are. It's like the effects can be absolute madness, crazy on the home, the mold, the stuff that people have to do with the renovations after hurricanes. I've heard all about it. I've seen it. I haven't felt it though. I felt some crazy hurricane stuff flying into Louisiana and flying out of Louisiana, but never been in like an actual hurricane in the state. That I'm looking forward to that. Even though I'm not looking forward to any hurricane coming back. And it's just like after Hurricane Laura, Hurricane Katrina, it's like just leave the damn state alone. Like, please, you've caused enough of this shit. Like, just go somewhere else. Like, but unfortunately, that's what's going to happen with the Gulf Coast being right there. And it slammed the north part of the Gulf Coast, and lucky, I think, that it didn't get worse and didn't turn this up. What was crazy was the same day the hurricane is going off here. There were 4 different simultaneous fires going off, wildfires going off in the state of Utah. It was bizarre, including one right on this hill by where my parents live. So it was very just crazy. The whole sky was white. It was just like, what is going on? They're getting bashed by the hurricane. We're having these fires out here. Like, good Lord. Like, and I guess that's just I guess that would be technically the kind of only thing we deal with here, except for an earthquake once in a while. But a hurricane, no, obviously not. But here, buddy, take it. I can only imagine, and that's why we just want to help. So we're going to put some links up. And if you feel like donating, if you can donate, even if it just inspires you to go out like my man Harold Hibbard did, where he went out and he goes out among the people as a retired cop, and he's like, I'm gonna help. I'm gonna go out and help some people who might be stuck or anything. I'm gonna listen on the police scanner. I've got this. I've got this. I've got some supplies. I've got my walkie-talkies. I've got a few guns. I've got some, this and this and this. He's got everything prepared. He's got the '83 Cherokee. He's going out there into the craziness to go help people. That is like exactly who needs to get help. That's exactly who the heart of Louisiana right there. My guy Harold Hibbard from Walker, a place that had their power knocked out, and he said it didn't really do much to his home except for slam it around, like usual with the rain slamming around. But everything seemed to be everyone come out okay. But maybe there were some people who haven't. I haven't seen the official statistics. But just out of preparation for the fact that it might not, we organized this, and yeah, I'm like, let's just do it. Even though we said we weren't going to do podcasts anymore, I was like, let's just do it. Even if someone, like just literally one person, donates $20 to some organization, they're like, yeah, I know that this local New Orleans organization or this local Baton Rouge organization or this local, wherever organization, you're just like, that's the one I want to support. Actually, that reminds me, here's $50 to them. Boom. Like, then this has been successful. Because not only can we sit here and talk about LSU football, we can get past the madness of Francine, which, thank God, was actually a weak little bitch. So, so long, Francine, huh, Sage? But definitely donate to any place, any organization, hurricane relief, disaster relief organization that you believe in or trust. This is one that we thought would be worth, supporting. handsonneworleans.org/donate. But really, donate to wherever you feel like donating to. It's really not a big deal. We're just trying to raise some awareness towards, yes, even though it wasn't as damaging or affected as many people as other hurricanes, perhaps there are some people who still need the help. So let's go for that. And thank you guys for joining us. It seems like we got a good crowd here. Seems like on LSUODYSSEY.com there's some people watching, and then there's people watching on the YouTube, and there's some people watching, of course, on the Twitter, like always. I hate watching the video back on the Twitter because it looks weird on there. So if you ever miss our show and want to watch the video back, just watch the YouTube video. Then you could like fast forward and go through in a proper manner instead of just how weird that thing is. I still love broadcasting live from Twitter, but I just don't like the thing. Just 5 views from that? Wow. Oh, well, we just barely posted it, so. Yeah, that's the thing is I forgot to post it before we left. Sage and I went to the store and had to get a bunch of stuff, and not a bunch of stuff, but we wanted to stock up for the weekend. Snacks, huh? You want some chips? You did a good job. You demolished that mac and cheese. What is that noise you're making, bud? You're weird. Here, Sage. All right. So this game, I feel, is going to be an absolute complete slugfest. Shane Beamer, Brian Kelly, LSU, South Carolina. We already got into the 5 factors that decide this game, in our opinion. And we definitely want you to support our friends, IconicBrand.com, Louisiana's #1 stop for championship mentality apparel. That's our own line, by the way. That's not something he fed us. That's something that we were like, you know what? That's the type of vibe we get from him. So we wrote our own promo for IconicBrand.com. So that's definitely shop at IconicBrand.com. We've got tons of their stuff. He sent us some hats, some shirts, badass stuff. Go on there, buy it, because Kevin Falk wears that stuff. You will never see Kevin Falk without that stuff on. Total just championship look about him. Same goes for a lot of different people who are leading in various different industries. It's shocking to me how far he's taken his brand in such little time, really. Langston, IconicBrand.com. Salute you, brother. LSU. I really was so I was so close to picking this thing as an upset for South Carolina win back in August. I was like ready to pick this thing as a South Carolina upset. Like, you know what? LSU will get past USC. They'll easily mow down Nichols, and then they will have to face South Carolina on the road. I didn't think game day would be there, of course. That's kind of a crazy late development this last week. But since last weekend, I believe it was, like Sunday or something when I heard that. But game day being there, all this high-profile stuff, and there's actually so much writing on this game this early in the season. There is so much writing on this game. This game is pivotal as fuck. So much rides on this game. Like, it's insane to me how much rides on this game this early. LSU season literally hangs in the balance right now for this game. Is that insane? LSU's season hangs in the balance if they lose at South Carolina for the first time. This is serious. This is a serious statistic right here. You can go look this up. LSU has not lost. The last time LSU has lost at South Carolina, the last time South Carolina beat LSU inside their own home was in 1930. That was a statistic we found back in August when we were doing our season predictions piece. And when I found that, thanks to the Tiger Droppings website help, it had Tiger Droppings site had a list of like LSU versus South Carolina history, you know? And so I was able to just go through it. I was starting to go through like one game after another previous year from ESPN, like oh yeah, they played South Carolina in this season. It was so difficult. You know, it was so just tedious. And it was just like, ugh. Not difficult, but just, tedious as fuck. And just, I found that thanks to TigerDroppings.com, and I could see it all in a column, the wins and losses. I'll show it to you right now. And it was like, whoa, LSU has not lost at South Carolina since 1930, and they have not beaten LSU since 1994. Can you believe that? Well, if you can't, we got news for you. Here it is. We'll give Tiger Droppings full credit by just showing where we found that. So yeah, 2020 LSU with TJ Finley starting in his first game for LSU just lit South Carolina up. And I remember a very hilarious LSU coverer, we'll say, LSU stalker, who blathered on about how this guy would be the next quarterback of the future for LSU. And that all related to just one factor. The fact that that dude lived next to that dude. And so he knew him and kind of had a bias. And so that was the only reason he said that. And then he had that game, and then TJ Finley never had another good result for LSU in the rest of his history. Sadly. Because I like TJ Finley. I think he's a good kid. But it's sad where he just could not be an SEC quarterback, I don't think. And then you got clear back in 2015, LSU, another big, just stomping victory, 45-24, 2012, 23-21. See, some of these games are close, 24-17 in 08, 28-16. LSU with a big stomping one there, 33-7 in Columbia. 33-7 in Columbia back in 03. I remember that game. 38-14 in 02 in Baton Rouge. Wow, we played each other back-to-back years there. You know what? That makes sense because it seems like we played South Carolina a lot in that era, 08, 07, 03. Yep, that makes sense to me. But Spurrier? Wasn't Spurrier there? Or maybe Spurrier wasn't there yet. 95, 94. 80, there was a tie in 95 in Columbia, a 20-20 tie. You've destroyed multiple of these. Stop. 17-18, right there. 1994 is the last time LSU has lost. Right there. 17-18 in Baton Rouge. In Baton Rouge. So you keep going. Look at that. LSU has not lost in Columbia since a 6-7 loss in 1930. October 11th, 1930. And guess what? South Carolina has beaten LSU twice in the entire history. Just twice with a tie. Okay? Now you're going to say, well, okay, that's just a season history. You know, that's a series history. That's just a one-sided kind of like, this is now. This is what's going on now. Okay. And Shane Beamer is starting to get something going there. Okay, that makes sense. Well, guess what else makes sense? South Carolina, their offense, for all of what LSU fans are freaking out about with their win over Kentucky, it looks so good, and then we lose to USC, so it just makes their near loss and barely beating Old Dominion look okay because, unlike us, they beat the shit out of Kentucky. It's like, actually, Kentucky made a ton of mistakes and literally gave South Carolina that game. South Carolina's offense has punted, has thrown interceptions. Like, they have done more negative things than they've scored touchdowns. They had 4 scoring touchdown drives, just 4 in the 2 games. That no rusher on their team ran for more than 54 yards against Kentucky. In a big stomping win, they only ran for no more than 54 yards. A bunch of their drives took place inside the 5-yard line, inside the 10. Complete advantage. That points to their great defense. It points to their incredible pass rushers. Kennard, Stewart, We've seen all the stuff. We've seen all the data, the 19 TFLs, the however many sacks. But LSU, really for me, looking at us, our defense should be able to stop that, right? Sellers should be getting stuffed. He should not be able to go for 10, 15 yards on these quarterbacks, RPO carries against our defense, right? When you've got Whit Weeks, you got Harold Perkins speed, you got Greg Penn, you got all these guys in the middle of but here's the thing. Rocket Sanders, Raheem Sanders, 88 yards against Old Dominion. And then I believe it was something like 54 against Kentucky. So hot and cold there as well. And there's been times where he's been more of a peripheral figure, even during his time at Arkansas. There were games that he missed. So, Rocket Sanders, he could be a factor in this game tomorrow without Jacobian Guillory. We're going to find out very quick. We're going to find out very quickly. Right when this game begins, we're going to find out very quickly how much they're interested in exposing that loss, getting the running game going. And obviously they're going to want to do it. They've only rushed for 2.8 yards per carry throughout the season, just these two games. But playing Old Dominion and a really shitty Kentucky, and you only average 2.8 yards and 126.5 per game, what the hell is that? I mean, that's embarrassing. So South Carolina, they want to flex that they're 2-0. That's fine. You're 2-0. LSU isn't. Okay. And LSU has a lot of pressure on them going into Columbia. So I'm not going to talk too much shit and be all, hey, LSU should kick some ass. And LSU should be. I was worried about them losing this game. Not only once when I was going to pick them to lose this game during my season, predictions, preseason predictions there in August. And before we ultimately changed to LSU winning by, I think it was like 17, 18, something like that, where LSU have some early scares but ultimately pull away. Hey, Grim Reaper. But now, I really did go through a crazy transformation here this last week where I first thought LSU are in trouble here against South Carolina. This is LSU's third game in 13 days. No one's paying attention to that. And Kelly already said they were tired right after Nichols. And then Jacobian Guillory, your best, most experienced defensive tackle, out for the season. Your most depleted spot now becomes almost like, do you have just a bunch of bodies, or do you have somebody you can work with? And I think there's a name you can work with here. I think there's a guy that people are overlooking who could stop the run here against South Carolina. Lenora Sellers going on these quarterback gives. Robbie Ashford from Auburn is back. Robbie Ashford is back with 26 yards on the season from 6 carries for Robbie Ashford. What a definitive talent. That's the thing, though. They have been underperforming, but they've been winning. And you know why South Carolina has been winning? Because they have made their opponents make mistakes with pressure, with intensity, by knocking the shit out of the team on defense. And then the offense has been punching it in and cashing it in. This is a matchup that could absolutely hurt LSU in so many ways because of that. Because, hey, if they take the football away, if they make turnovers, they're going to punish us. Because how are we going to stop the run consistently facing, you're already in the 20, inside your 30-yard line at least, throwing an interception, getting, fumbles, stuff like that. It is very important that Garrett Nussmeier does not throw an interception tomorrow. It is very important that no one coughs the football up. It is very important that nobody has any drops and the ball goes flipping up in the air and you put your quarterback's ass on the line by letting the ball get picked. We have got to control the football at all costs. LSU has got to dial it in, or we're going to be 1-2. And I'm so excited, though, that LSU are at least making these defensive changes. No more Whit Weeks on the bench. That cat is playing, and it's going to be hard to get him off the field. And it's not just me saying that for once. It's going to be hard to get him off. That's what Brian Kelly said now. So unless he is making it up or pulling it out of his ass, we're going to see Whit Weeks starting for LSU against South Carolina. And then Harold Perkins. And it might not be the star. It might be a Sam Will kind of like hybrid position. Whatever you want to call it. He's going to be in coverage at times. He's going to be able to rush off the edge at times. Mostly be able to attack the backfield and be able to support the linebackers. And then when called upon, assist them in coverage. It's going to be able to allow him to play more in space, which is exactly what we want from him. We want to see the young man playing in space. We want to see the young man attacking the backfield. We want to see the young man going after quarterbacks. We want to see him making plays. We saw him make plays all last season. It was just in a different way. And so when I hear people say, Harold Perkins, he had a bad sophomore year, I reject that. That is bullshit. I believe he had the same amount of TFLs. And I believe he had almost same amount of sacks. I think it was like maybe like 3 less, something like that. But then he had an interception as well. He was able to force fumbles as well still. He basically was able to tally close to the same numbers. And then in tackles, I believe he went a few higher than 2022. So Perkins, yes, he played a different role. He had to be in coverage because we were so bad last season in coverage. So for me, the changes that you could just see Harold Perkins playing in space, being able to anticipate, attack, and supplement either the linebacking core or the secondary with just a move of a few yards when he's someone that fast and that instinctual. You're giving this kid the keys to the car, and it's about fucking time. You should have done it a long time ago. You should have, after I saw what he did changing the game against Auburn, well, for me, he would have been literally starting against Florida State in that game as a freshman for starters, at least as a third down edge rusher, maybe even not starting, but at least coming off the bench to be that cheetah package third down, just havoc, kind of like how we used oh my God, I had his name right on my head and he just slipped out. The guy who's playing for TCU, the guy who plays for TCU now. Oh my God, why is it Marcel Brooks from the 2019 team? Like how we used him. We should have been using Harold Perkins like that from the start. And stupid that we only figured it out when we had to play Auburn. He gets a pick, changes that game, makes plays all over the place. He helps make the difference against the Heisman-winning quarterback in Bryce Young as just a spy, this mano-a-mano game between the two. It was absolutely breathtaking. So Harold Perkins, who we were showing earlier on the photo, and then I went to somebody else, and then I started continuing to talk about Harold Perkins. But Harold Perkins, I'm just excited that we have a chance to see him in this new role, because why the hell not? He's that good. Linebacker is not, inside linebacker at least, is not for him. Whit Weeks is the definition of a of a Mike linebacker, in my opinion, at least a modern day one. He is so incredible and explosive with that side-to-side pace, that explosion, the tenacity, the tackling power. It's feverish. It's feverish football. You when you are someone who really loves good, high quality football, you love Whit Weeks. You love watching Whit Weeks. And his brother West, he has improved big time this year as well, West Weeks. So you love watching good, strong, solid football. They're not going to allow a guy to get past them for, make some awful whiff. We saw, people have to run Whit Weeks over. Who was it who ran Whit Weeks over? It was Caleb Jackson in fall camp. Yeah. I don't think he's going to be running Whit over during the season this year if they were coming at each, if he's coming right at him and Whit has that tackle right there. I don't think that's going to happen again. Whit Weeks is on a mission for this game. Let me just tell you that. I can't tell you why. I can't tell you what motivation he has, secret motivation he has, but I'm just going to tell you that there is one. A big secret motivation for Whit Weeks for this game. Whit Weeks, I think, is perfect to be starting this game alongside Harold Perkins in this new position with Greg Penn III to stuff that run, to stop the creativity with the run, to get side to side, track it down, hunt it down, get it to the ground. I think Whit Weeks is going to have an incredible game. This is going to be, he already had his breakout season last year, in my opinion, as a freshman. Don't you think? That's why he didn't make our top 5 breakout players of fall camp or anything, because he wasn't a breakout player to me. He already led the team in tackles in multiple games last year as a starter, helping us win those games. Right there against Missouri. He came off the bench against Ole Miss and at least made us competitive in that game against Ole Miss in stopping Lane Kiffin finally on a few drives. And put up crazy numbers, of course. He helped us blow the shit out of Mississippi State on his starting debut, leading the team in tackles. I believe it was 9 or double digits. He was just an animal all the last season. I believe he also played in that Auburn game, maybe. Maybe it was Auburn. I'm trying to think what other games that he played in. Whenever he started, he won games. Whenever Omar Spates started, we tended to lose those games. So, it's it's obvious that Whit Weeks helps the team as well. And he's going to help unleash Harold Perkins more. Because here's the thing. Whit has unbelievable recovery speed as well as the instincts. So even if he screws up, he can make up for it. You saw him get burned on that touchdown. The only mistake I've really seen him make, except for maybe one missed tackle last year, maybe 2 missed tackles, but one that was actually a bad one. Whoa, Whit. But that touchdown he got beat for against Nichols. He was completely out of that play. He was completely out of the play. He was completely out of the play. He was completely out of the play, and they threw it right over his head. And he had bit on the play, but he flew back to make up the ground there and was able to get to the guys, at least the thighs to pull him down. That was incredible to show that recovery speed. I know he got beat on the play. I'm just saying athletically, in that vein, from that viewpoint, that standpoint, and some of the plays we've put on Twitter where he's just flying, tracking down side to side, we're not going to put those plays up right now. The goddamn copyright thing has been all over our ass about any footage we've used, even in the smallest sense, the smallest way. And it's all because of the song that we blasted, as an intro song. It's been such bullshit. But, it was only it's not even a strike. I've never had a strike on the YouTube count either. So it's not really a big deal. I just can't really show any footage probably this weekend in our stuff and probably be fine after that. But it's, we've never infringed anyone's copyright. We've never, most of the things we show, we actually are able to get permission to show, and we actually go and ask permission for. People can prove that. So, I mean, it's very strange. YouTube and the way it works, very odd. Oh man, fruit snacks are so good. Sorry, Chris. Chris Melder says, "Yo, what up, Lon? I don't think we need to make it more than it is. Pretty much every game from here on out is a must-win." Of course. And that's why I'm making it more than it is, because it's right now. He says, the chef master himself says, "We are the better team. We just need to go in there and punk them out." Here's the thing. LSU on paper are the better team. The feel of this game feels like LSU is the better team. The betting favorite would be LSU. I have a feeling, and I'm a little worried, that LSU could lose this game because of Lenora Sellers' ability to extend plays. That scares the shit out of me, guys, gals, everybody. That scares the crap out of me, because I feel like that has killed LSU and their defense and exposed all of our defensive issues the last few years. And quarterbacks that maybe necessarily don't even run for a lot of yardage against us, but just have the ability to, usually have tended to beat us. And that's something that must end Saturday. LSU must end that. And I'm worried about a lot of factors with this game. And, losing Jacoby and Guillory. My God, guys. That's one that gets to me. Because Guillory, without him, without that guy who's like, I'm not going to let you get, like, that Guillory was never going to, like, let someone go without a fight, And maybe the old Guillory would have. Maybe the old Jacobian Guillory wouldn't have been good enough to be that guy. But this year, even if he made mistakes on a few plays, even if he wasn't playing the gap as well as he could have, even if he wasn't at his best, you saw Jacobian Guillory raise his game. You saw him fight like an absolute dog. Like, the dude would take you to the fucking mat, punch you in the face, bloody your nose, take your lunch money, kick you in the ass, and send you on your way home. Like, the dude was starting fights in fall camp, but not like a bully. He wanted to get that reaction out of his teammates. Like, let's go. I want to turn you into dogs. And that Bo Davis probably is telling him to do this stuff, because he knows Jacoby and Guillory's got the minerals to pull it off and is probably doing it. So, like, hey, pick a fight today. Get this guy going. Get Sean Washington going, And that's what's going to be needed. Hopefully Jacoby and Guillory can actually still stay around the team and be able to stay involved, because LSU need his leadership. LSU absolutely need Jacoby and Guillory's leadership. They needed it in the locker room already. They needed it on the field. They need it on the sidelines. They're not going to have it on the field anymore. They got to have him on the sidelines. They got to have him in the locker room. These defensive tackles need that voice that just at least says, shut the fuck up and listen to what the coach is saying. That one guy that is just the one dude you will not cross, the one guy that can get everyone in that team to listen or to get dialed in. And this team shouldn't need help getting dialed in for this game. I know it's early. I know it's crazy, but Kelly is 6-1 with these early morning kickoff games. I don't know why that is. He's 6-1. He's 1-6 with these neutral site primetime games, including the one LSU Odyssey was just live from in Vegas. against USC, and that is something LSU cannot have. Is another loss here. Sorry, neutral or away in that statistic, neutral or away. Kelly has to get a win here. LSU has to get a win. Here's the thing. You're asking me if LSU loses, did Woodward get it wrong? That's a damn thing to say. I mean, that's extreme thing to say. And guess what? You wouldn't be wrong because you and I both know what's going to happen if LSU lose this game, right? If LSU lose this game, people are saying the season's over. Season's done. They might be right. They might be right, That's the thing is they might be right because LSU already at 2 losses, having to play how many different teams later after that? Sage, calm down. Jesus. And, you're already facing back against the wall 3 games into it. It almost seems like something that's going to happen. And I'm just worried. I'm just so worried about this game because LSU, it's such a trap game. It's such a game where South Carolina shouldn't beat us, but are just going to punish our mistakes or something like that. LSU must control this game from the start. LSU must give this game right in the hands of Garrett Nussmeier, your quarterback. Don't you think? I want to see Garrett Nussmeier throwing the football at least 35 times in this game. And that's the thing is, obviously Kelly's going to go nowhere if he loses this game, but it would literally pile on the pressure to an almost unfathomable degree, where you knew it was going to be bad if we lost to USC because you couldn't imagine us losing to USC, right? It felt like there was no way LSU were going to lose that game. And LSU did everything to lose that game after doing everything to win it at different moments. They would do everything to win it, and then next play do everything to lose it. Literally handing that game to USC with penalties and just complete missed opportunities on offense. LSU in this game comes down to 2 simple things, even though I'm saying Garrett Nussmeier and the passing game should – and the death of 1,000 passes kind of air raid type concept. LSU should do a lot of that. But really, we should also unleash the big plays downfield, burn them deep with some big explosive touchdowns. Because if you're just going to dink and dunk them down the field, they'll give you 500-600 yards total offense as long as they only allow you to score 21 points. That's what they're going to want to do. They don't give a shit if they allow us a ton of yards. They're going to try and stuff us in the red zone because teams have been able to, because we can't run the football. We cannot run the football. And then for some reason, we also can't pass in the red zone. So we've got to figure out how to run the football. I don't know how you do it with this team. Maybe it's a new offensive lineman comes on that field. But here's the thing. We haven't seen any outside runs off of the tackles. I'm not meaning like pitches way outside or something, but just right off the shade of the offensive tackles. So this game you put in Garrett Nussmeier's hands and you say win us this football game with your arm. But also, if Garrett Nussmeier can run the football for 5, 6, 7 yards here or there, get out of bounds or slide without taking hits, very key. LSU maybe can find some room in the running game. And at some point, like Brian Kelly said, Caleb Jackson has got to make somebody miss. Josh Williams got to make somebody miss. And, oh, man. without both John Emery Jr. and Trey Holly for such bogus reasons that just really suck. Really, both out of the player's control. Just terrible. And the running back room has been decimated. Is Juwan Johnson the leader here? Is Juwan Johnson going to be the dude who's going to be delivering this running back room from evil? You know, I mean, let's see how much LSU are rushing for a game right now. I know we've rushed for like 116 yards total, I believe, across both games without John Emery Jr. Without John Emery Jr.'s input. Wow, it wanted to automatically send me to the 2023 team. I literally typed 2024, you fucker. Okay, LSU. LSU were scoring 32 points per game and allowing 24 points per game. That's way better than last year. But it's only 2 games. Okay, LSU's leading rusher after 2 games is still John Emery Jr. at 61 yards. Josh Williams has 52 total. Caleb Jackson with 42. Garrett Nussmeier 13. Xavier Thomas with 5. Caden Durham with 4 yards. Ricky Collins with 4 yards. Let's just do the running backs. 4. LSU is just 159 rushing yards from the backs. 159 total rushing yards from our running backs. Come on. We've got to get this shit together. Get this shit together, man. Caleb Jackson rushing for 3.2. Josh Williams, respectable 4 yards per carry. Caleb Jackson, 2 catches, 13 yards. You know, he's effective in that, in the passing out of the backfield. But man, 159 yards. $79.5 rushing yards per game from LSU's running backs. Jesus. 79.5. And you can't even include John Emery. Like, after 1 game, he was gone. Like, oh my Lord. Pitiful. Like, LSU will lose this game to South Carolina if they cannot run the ball. Yes, Garrett Nussmeier can throw for 30-plus completions, over 300 yards, and 4, 5, 6 even passing touchdowns. But if you cannot run the ball for at least 100 combined yards and at least chew some clock just from the running backs, and then Garrett Nussmeier adds, say, 20 more rushing yards as well, you're going to lose this game. You will lose this fucking game. I cannot believe it. I wouldn't be able to believe it because LSU has always owned South Carolina since I can remember. LSU has always just shit all over their face. Literally. And in ways that were aesthetically pleasing, beautiful. Like, that's our Tigers. Yep. Fuck you, South Carolina. There's a reason we call you the Cox. They're a team you want to hate, right? And so losing to South Carolina is not an option. But you know what? Losing to USC wasn't either. Losing to Florida State wasn't either. We hate these teams, and yet we've lost them. We've lost them. So this is a game LSU has to go full bore in, or they're not going to win. LSU has to take no prisoners, be vicious, be brutal, be swift, be violent, be intense. I want to see Whit Weeks out there for goddamn almost every play. And Harold Perkins, if you do not find a way to unleash that beast, or at least make him somewhat game-wreckingly effective for this team tomorrow, I will be disgusted. I will not understand why. Not only the fact that you guys wasted so much time making him a linebacker that he couldn't be, but not able to solve the equation after, or didn't have a plan B in mind if it didn't work out. And this is why you don't let this vision of what could be or might be 4 or 5 years down the road dictate what you're going to do and how you're going to develop right then. It should be a natural process. And what was Harold Perkins turning into? A Micah Parsons type player with even more versatility, not as much size, not as much, girth to him. But let's see what we can do if we add, 15, 20 pounds of weight, but not too much. And you keep him as that speed freak. You go back to the tape and you saw how he dominated as a freshman in those Arkansas games, Ole Miss games, how he did what he did. Historic, crazy, epic production. Not only as a freshman, but all around for LSU. All around historic year. Beyond historic. That year was legendary. Harold Perkins, it was subtle, but it was brilliant what he did last year for the team. He was a constant shining light for a defense that was full of garbage. Hot, steamy garbage. And I don't care what anyone says, go back and watch the film. You will see it. The stats show it, but you will see it. The way he was able to shut Luther Burden down after Luther Burden had nearly 100 yards in the first quarter alone. And then he had 4 total yards off 2 catches and like 6 or 7 targets. Harold Perkins' way in that second half and that second quarter, like that for 3 quarters, he's covering Luther Burden and shuts his ass down. Like, Harold Perkins, he will do whatever it takes to win these games. Use him as a defensive weapon that can help LSU do this. But here's the thing. Whatever you do, play him in space. Do not get him stuck in the wash. And whatever you do as well, don't put Major Burns at safety. We just took one bad player off the field and moved a great player to a position that will allow him to be great, and then put the best linebacker, the best pure linebacker on the team, on the field as a starter. So you've made the team faster, you've made the team better in coverage, and you've made the team more versatile, the defense more versatile. Bringing Major Burns back onto the field in replace of the potentially going to be absent Jordan Allen at safety alongside Sage Ryan is a foolhardy decision. I know Deshaun Spears is a freshman, but he is better than Jordan Gilbert, I think, and he's better than Major Burns at the safety position. And here's the thing, too. Lenoris Sellers is not going to have anything easy throwing against him over the top. And guess what? Against a 6'3", borderline 6'4" safety, he's not even going to attempt it, Lenoris Sellers, in my opinion. LSU should be able to dominate this defense. LSU should be able to dominate defensively against this offense. South Carolina have piss poor numbers, 2.8 yards per carry this season. I understand. So LSU can't run the ball either. But really, if LSU can run the ball even just marginally against South Carolina and then stop the run, we win this game. It's just two things, and it's very simple. Because Garrett Nussmeier is going to deliver points. Those receivers are going to deliver touchdowns. Who it's going to be, who knows? It's a carousel of pass catchers. It could be Mason Taylor tomorrow. It could be Kyron Lacey tomorrow. It could be Chris Hilton. Who knows? Might show up and play for once this season. This would be the first game that he would be in after missing the first two with his bone bruise on his foot, which I wonder if they played down the severity of that injury. But either way, if they did, it didn't really do it kind of did disservice to Chris, because if it was more severe, why don't you just tell us it's kind of more severe than a bone bruise? It's become something more different, and we're going to keep that private. Okay, but people have been kind of dogging him about not playing. If it's more difficult than a bone bruise, maybe let us know. I don't know. You don't really need to let us know, but just say it is more difficult. Don't say that he's just questionable all the time, because then people wonder, why isn't this kid playing? Just say he's out. Chris Melder says, I never expected to get through the whole season with Guillory. What do you mean by that? Like, that Guillory was going to be hurt? Did you think that Guillory was going to get hurt, like, early in the season? Or hurt at some point? Because that didn't really come to my mind. My mind, it just was, LSU can't lose this guy to injury. And I knew he had an injury before, but I guess I didn't really think his injury history was that extensive to be worried about, and I don't think that's what caused this injury either. I think this was a non-contact freak thing that happened. But I'd never, come to think of it, I don't think I've seen the footage of what happened. Maybe I did, but maybe I remember him going to the sidelines, going to the medical tent, looking pissed. Sandwater says, Blake seems to be not sure where to put Perk inside or outside. To me, that spells trouble. Not anymore. I mean, not anymore if he knows how to put him outside, because that's what he's going to be doing this game. And it's not outside as just a linebacker, an outside linebacker, Stan. It's using him in a versatile role, a hybrid role, the star position, where you're like a nickel Sam, but you're also a will linebacker in one player. And that's just kind of the most simple way to put it. There's more schematic, lingo-y, extreme X's and O's stuff that, frankly, sometimes goes over my head, but I know would probably go over everybody's listening to it, because it's just such a bizarre thing. Maybe not. Maybe there's some diehard X's and O's people in here who can teach me some shit. But point is, how does that spell trouble if Blake Baker can figure it out and make the adjustment and fix it? Yes, it cost us a game and it was stupid. But here's the thing. Perkins was saying, this was Perkins' idea. This was to please Harold Perkins. This was to, get him in a position where he could be drafted higher. But here's the thing. It's not going to work out for him because he's not playing well there. LSU aren't playing well with him there. They're not defending well. They had one of the worst defenses in college football history with him playing in this linebacker spot, for a few games until they finally moved him to that nickel Sam kind of weird role. Now he's in this star position where I think he's going to be able to affect the game a lot better. And to me, that doesn't spell trouble. That spells someone who can admit a mistake and make necessary changes to, take it to the next level, get it better. And also, it tells me that that's a coach who wanted to make things happen and make a player comfortable with him by, like, you know what, let's make you into that linebacker, that off-ball linebacker. You can be that. You're telling me you can be that. Let's make you that. And we're seeing that, even Blake Baker, now Matt House, two of the best linebacker coaches in the country, can't turn him into that. But limited time with him, limited time. I think a few years, an NFL career, someone will probably be able to. But not right now, not at the size he's at either. Not able to shed blocks. And so Perkins, you have to take him to the outside, but also really to this star position where he can blitz from space. He can rush the passer from space. He's going to be sometimes deeper than the linebackers. Sometimes he's going to be alongside the linebackers. Sometimes he's going to be ahead of the linebackers on the edge. Get creative, get smart, get into this shit, and beat South Carolina. Wow, I almost choked on that pretzel. Oh my God. I'm sorry for that. Yeah, Chris Muller says not this early, but yes, relating to Jacoby and Guillory getting injured. Yeah, I'm stunned, man. I'm stunned by it all when I think back on it. Just like, wow. I remember the night I hear it. Saturday night, just wrote the article. I'm out there having a smoke, talking with Chels, and Sage is asleep, and we're just kind of relaxing, and my phone buzzes. And it's this source saying, like, dude, really bad news for the team and for this guy. Jacoby and Guillory's out with a torn Achilles. I'm like, no fucking way. No way. And I knew he was right. Let's just say we found out and crossed our I's and dotted our T's and made sure to find that out and confirm it. And so, God, that was just a tough one to break because it was like, this news is going to piss off the fan base. But so many of the fans knew that he had already suffered what could be a bad injury, but there was just hope that it wasn't. It's really funny that all offseason, what did I say? I'm literally going to find the footage. Play Harold at star, play Whit Weeks, literally middle linebacker alongside Greg Penn, or put Greg Penn at middle linebacker and then Whit Weeks outside linebacker. Whatever you want to do. But put Harold Perkins at star and keep Whit Weeks on the field. No more Major Burns as a starter. Sage Ryan at safety, not at corner. Stamps. Now Zy Alexander's back. And Zy Alexander, as you heard, he might not even start the game. He might start it, but he's not going to play the whole game. And so Woodland / Alexander for this game. I wonder why they weren't so as careful with John Emery Jr.'s knee as they are with making sure Zy Alexander's knee is okay. Kind of weird. Anyway, I have flip-flopped so many times on this game prediction. It's been hard for me to wonder what the hell do I pick for this game? What am I going to stick with here? Okay. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what this game would show us. And I'm still like, I don't know if this is the right thing to do. We don't do it very much. And I don't know, I really I'm going to pick an LSU loss here. I'm going to pick LSU losing to South Carolina because all of the implications, all of the pressure, all of the pregame insanity is going against LSU, and it's kind of building into this chrysanthemum of insanity that's making Shane Beamer into this crowning god of football. I'm building my program in South Carolina. You're starting to feel like this is building into something, Pat McAfee and Shane Beamer did. Okay, all that aside, all that clown show aside, they have to play an LSU team that, yes, third game in 13 days. Yes, they lost Emery. Yes, they lost Guillory. Yes, they're without Jordan Allen. Yes, they're going to be without one of the Weeks brothers. They're going to be without Chris Hilton Jr. most likely. I think LSU are going to have enough to get this victory. I don't think it's by much. I think it's a close game. It is going to be a fucking slugfest. Don't you be mistaken. But LSU are going to get the victory 31-25 just by the skin of our balls. Because literally, LSU lose this game, you know what will happen. The gates of hell will open upon Brian Kelly. The questions will start to swirl about his future. The questions will start to swirl about Woodward. Because here's the thing. LSU have lost now. It would be the third season in a row that LSU have what? A second loss by midway through the year, and the season's done. Season's cooked. And this year, maybe it wouldn't be cooked with the second loss. Maybe there would be a way to get in the playoffs still. I don't think so from the SEC. We'll see. There's going to be 5, maybe 4 SEC teams going in that playoff, and a couple of them with 2 losses. LSU are in a position where likely we're already going to be one of those teams with a second loss at the best of if the best of everything worked out. Okay, and even that does not guarantee a victory in Columbia, South Carolina. This is a game that worries me because South Carolina's defense know how to hit, they know how to tackle, they know how to get pressure on the quarterback, and they know how to generate and force turnovers. Okay? Let me get the exact numbers. Because they had generated quite a bunch of picks and forced fumbles and that type of stuff. Just give me Sports Reference, you bastards. Sports Reference is the best. A quick Google search. There we go. Sick. He's sick, man. What are you doing? Sage, you relax. Do you want something from your toy box? What do you want? You want the wand? You want the crayon? No, you can't play with a crayon until I get done with this. Your mama was mad after what you did with the wall. Huh. She banished me with a whip and forced me to clean it. No. Okay. They have 4 interceptions already in 2 games. The 19 tackles for loss. 10 sacks. 5 pass breakups. 2 fumble recoveries. 6 forced fumbles. 6 forced fumbles, 4 picks. I mean, 10 sacks, 19 TFL. I mean, that is a defense that is kicking ass in 2 games, as they should against Old Dominion, Kentucky. They haven't faced anyone like our offensive line. They haven't faced anyone like our receiving corps. They haven't faced anyone with, Caleb Jackson's speed and versatility and burst. And, we haven't seen it yet. But maybe this is the time we're going to see it because, simply put, we have to see it. We have to see what you guys are made of, or, it's going to become a situation where guys that we never thought would lose their job on this LSU team might be actually booted out of their job and might go further down the roster pecking order after a second loss. But I'm going to tell you this. It will not be Garrett Nussmeier. Garrett Nussmeier will not be the reason LSU loses this game. I think he's too smart with the ball. I think there's going to be a drive or two you're going to scream at him for not making the throw and taking the sack. And you're going to be like, why did he take the sack? And I think it's going to be because he's so intensely, I cannot turn this ball over today. I cannot, I'm going to try and give my guys a chance with those deep balls and try and throw it up and give them a shot. But, it's not something I'm going to just take a sack if I have to, This game is going to be gritty. And, it might even be 25-21, LSU 25, South Carolina 21. Because this game I can see being lower scoring maybe than others see it, maybe more grinding. I see 2 defenses that are more than capable of preventing the other from being explosive throughout the game. Maybe explosive for stretches. Maybe making plays for stretches. I think Xavier Thomas is going to make a big play in the special teams. I think he's going to either run a punt return or a kickoff return back for a touchdown against South Carolina. I think it's almost destined to happen. When I looked up the stats, and I knew Trey Palmer was the last time we had scored a special teams touchdown in 2020 against South Carolina. But I was looking at who had the most yards in a single game since Xavier Thomas's 114 last week against Nichols. And it was sure enough Trey Palmer. And I literally am like, and I know this game, it was South Carolina, wasn't it? I swear to God, it was that big, 52 to something beatdown of 52-24 beatdown of South Carolina. Sure enough, it was. And it's like we had the Flynn flip over the head to Colt David as well. Like, this is a sign. LSU special teams being crucial, being critical in this game, something that one of our friends, Nurse Court, would appreciate and fully love and endorse. I think special teams are going to be huge in this game, whether that's Damian Ramos making a couple kicks at some point, which I'm sure he'll have to, whether that's LSU's own kickoff and return coverage, making sure to keep those fields short, making sure our kickers and our punters are doing their job. Only had 1 punt each inside the 20 for Blake Oceandorf and for Peyton Todd last game. Not good enough. Not good enough. Just 1 punt each inside the 20. Not good enough when they're punting, more than 4 times. Blake Oceandorf, I will say, he only punted once and it did go inside the 20, so credit to him. But Peyton Todd, not effective. Not effective at all last time. You might see Blake Oceandorf taking over that starting punting role. Those who are actually watching would saw what just happened, but we'll continue for those who didn't. LSU. LSU have to win this game. Not only to remain competitive this season and to remain in contention this season, but I just have a feeling that fans are going to become so irate, and the expectations of what this team actually is and what they can be capable of might be so bloated and so unrealistic. It might. I don't know. This team is so hard to understand and to get a grip on, isn't it? Like, really, this team is difficult to get a grasp on. What in the God's name has my son done with this charger? Anyway, LSU, they're going to win 31-25. We're going to have pregame and postgame coverage tomorrow. Check out all the articles at LSUODYSSEY.com. LSUODYSSEY.com. So many articles there. Donate to your favorite and the one you trust the most, hurricane relief charity organization. Donate today. They're handsonneworleans.org/donate. They're a great organization that we trust and believe in. Check out the preview articles on LSUODYSSEY.com. There's 2 of them. They're thick, they're big, they're burly. A lot of meat on the bone there for you to chew in and get into. But yes, I just wanted to tell everybody. Sorry, could not find our charger. My son ran off with it somewhere, like a madman. But I just wanted to tell everybody, thank you so much for watching this show. It's always a pleasure to do the show for you. We're going to do a lot more of these. I know we pretended we weren't going to, but we're going to. It was a marketing ploy to get you to watch. Just kidding. Or was I? LSUODYSSEY.com. We've been posting a lot of writing, and we're trying to focus on the writing, get the writing good. And we're trying to focus on the breaking news, get the breaking news good. I think, how do you think we did this last week? Are we doing okay? How do you think we're doing with the content at LSUODYSSEY.com? What can we improve upon? How can we get better? Post that right on our wall at Lon Phillips on Twitter, or to LSUODYSSEY.com on the comment section of any article, to our DMs, to right here. Tell us what we can do better to get better. Tell us what we, are failing at. Tell us what, you think LSU Odyssey should do more of, or something that you're into that we can, hey, that's something we should keep going into, or we should explore more of that. Tell us what you think. Really, what you think. That's it. LSUODYSSEY.com signing out. Happy Friday night, because this is a great fucking game tomorrow night for one reason. We don't have to wait all day for LSU football, right? It's coming fast and furious right in the morning. It's incredible. I mean, it's at 10 a.m. here for us. 10 a.m. So, 10 a.m. for us here. 11 a.m. for you guys. 12 a.m. for anyone who's there in South Carolina. What a wild game we're going to have. LSU Odyssey predict 31-25. South Carolina loses the biggest game of the Shane Beamer era to LSU 31-25. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a wonderful night. Take it easy. Check out all the content, all the madness at LSUODYSSEY.com. This has been LSUODYSSEY.com's Friday Live. Thank you for joining us. And now, signing off, LSUODYSSEY.com's Lock Sullivan. Guest starring Sage Sullivan.